In this video, I want to talk about how to increase zinc absorption and optimize your levels quickly. This will be especially helpful for anyone who has problems taking zinc supplements or for those where even high doses of zinc don't seem to help. To start things off, how likely is a zinc deficiency in the first place? It's actually more common than you might think, and not only because of food processing and stress, which both deplete zinc, but also because testing for deficiency is a lot more difficult than people might think. A normal blood test often doesn't correlate with your body's zinc stores, because the zinc is stored in the tissue, not in the blood. The same goes for common at-home zinc tests, like the fingernail test or the taste test. They do sometimes work, but I've seen many cases where they showed false negatives. I explain all of this in a different video if you're interested in zinc testing. The recommended daily allowance in the US is 11 milligrams for men and 8 milligrams for women. But your actual zinc needs depend on many factors. For example, zinc tends to be better absorbed from animal foods and not as well from plant-based foods. So vegans and vegetarians are more likely to be zinc deficient. This has to do with the phytates and the copper in many plant foods like grains, which lower your zinc absorption, even if the zinc in the plant itself is fairly high. Other factors that can reduce your zinc levels are high alcohol intake, increased sweating, stress, and also a diet full of processed foods. Good zinc foods include meats, especially red meat, and seafood. Nuts and whole grains also have zinc, but again, watch out for the copper and phytic acid content, both of which will reduce your actual zinc uptake. Soaking, sprouting, and roasting can help reduce the phytic acid. So if you follow a diet high in grains and nuts, then this is definitely something I would recommend. Next to foods, you obviously also have zinc supplements. And when it comes to supplementation, I explain the basics in a different video. Most people will end up taking a dose between 5 and maybe 50 milligrams per day, sometimes even higher. But then you get into the range of superdosing, which is a different topic altogether. Let's now discuss the different steps that you can take to increase your zinc absorption and levels, be it from foods or from supplements. First, we have your protein intake. The amount of protein you eat in a meal is positively correlated to zinc absorption. There are several reasons for this, but the most important one is that certain amino acids can form complexes with zinc, and these zinc amino acid complexes are more easily absorbed in the small intestine. The best amino acids for this are histidine, methionine, and cysteine. Histidine and methionine directly increase zinc uptake, and cysteine is important for the creation of metallothionein, which is a protein in the body that transports metals around, especially zinc and copper. A metallothionein deficiency often goes hand in hand with a zinc deficiency, and also with other problems like heavy metal toxicity or certain mental illnesses. So definitely look at this often underappreciated protein. The second important thing is to look for zinc cofactor vitamins and minerals. Other cofactor nutrients besides the amino acids I just mentioned are vitamins A and D, and they work together with zinc especially for your immune response. And also in terms of minerals, you have copper and iron. Zinc, copper, and iron regulate each other and need to be balanced against each other. If one is too high, the other two will be too low. Unfortunately, a lot of people nowadays suffer from copper toxicity and iron toxicity, meaning they have too much of them, especially in a biounavailable form, so a form that the body cannot use or access. And these biounavailable metals will then build up and create a lot of inflammation and oxidative stress. So to improve zinc functioning in your body, you want to make sure to reduce the biounavailable iron and copper. I have videos on this that go into much more detail. It's quite a complex topic. Third, you also want to reduce your overall toxic metal load. Like copper and iron, toxic metals compete with zinc for absorption in the GI tract. They can be aluminum, nickel, cadmium, lead, or mercury, for example. But in terms of zinc depression, the worst offenders are mercury and cadmium. That's because once they're in the body, zinc is also used up to eliminate them. Remember metallothionein? Like I said before, it's used to transport metals around, and this includes toxic metals. So if you suffer from low zinc levels and/or low metallothionein levels, then these toxic metals will build up and also block zinc-dependent enzymes because their biochemical structure is similar to zinc. The result can be lower immunity, higher oxidative stress, or really anything related to zinc functioning, so your skin as well, for example. That's why you always want to make sure to decrease your toxic metal load over time. This isn't done overnight, but a long process that I will explain in more detail in a future video. Number 4 is to try different forms of zinc supplements. Online you will find lots of lists of the best zinc supplements, and they are usually topped by organic zinc forms. Here the zinc is bound to an organic acid, and then you get things like zinc picolinate, zinc citrate, zinc glycinate, or zinc gluconate. Inorganic forms include zinc sulfate and zinc oxide, which is usually used in zinc creams. While organic forms are often better absorbed and recommended, this also always depends on your individual tolerance and reaction to specific supplements. For example, one of the most potent zinc supplements is ionic zinc, which is made from zinc sulfate, so an inorganic version. Traditional zinc supplements are all compounds, so they need to dissolve in your digestive system to release the zinc ions, which can then be absorbed. Ionic supplements already have the zinc ions dissolved in them, so they're always liquid. This makes them more potent, but you also need to watch out to not overdose. Here dosages are measured in drops. For example, 1 teaspoon would be way too much. This then takes me to point number 5, which is to optimize your zinc dosages. We're usually told to take zinc on an empty stomach and all at once, so your daily supplement intake in one dose. But too much zinc at once can irritate the GI tract and lead to stomach upset. And taking it together with food can reduce these stomach problems, even if it slightly decreases your zinc uptake. Another option would be to take small amounts of zinc several times throughout the day. So for example, if you want to take in 30 milligrams of a zinc supplement, you can take 10 milligrams for breakfast, 10 for lunch, and 10 for dinner. Of course, keep in mind that in the long term, overdosing on zinc can lead to a copper deficiency. The cutoff point is usually given at 50 milligrams or more per day, but it really depends on your nutrient levels and what your current copper and zinc status is. Of course, in someone who is copper toxic, we want their copper level to go down, but in someone with an existing copper deficiency, taking that much zinc will make it worse. The last tip I want to talk about are zinc ionophores. A zinc ionophore is a substance that can transport zinc across the cell wall into the center of the cell. And this is important for its immune boosting effects, because viruses reproduce inside the cell. For zinc to stop the virus, it needs to enter the cell, but it can't do so by itself. So similar to metallothionein, which is able to transport zinc around the body, zinc ionophores can transport zinc across the cell membrane. The most famous zinc ionophore is quercetin, but other flavonoids also show ionophore properties. Fruits and vegetables are the best dietary sources of quercetin, especially berries and onions. Quercetin supplements also exist, but I wouldn't take them every day, and instead only acutely when you're fighting off an infection. Great, I hope these tips helped you understand how zinc functions and how you can optimize its uptake and increase your levels fast. If you like this video, then I see you in the next one.